Alright, so I'm out here. It is February 1st, 2022. I haven't touched anything except for popping the top and taking a look up top. I haven't bothered them, but today it is 45 degrees and we're about to have probably 6 to 10 inches of snow, and I don't know when I'm going to get back in there, so this might be my only opportunity to see if my bees are alive, but I don't see any movement. So we're going to check inside and figure out what we got. So I see a lot of mites right there. A lot of mites. Yeah, I think yeah. I don't know where, unless they're in that second box, but I think I'll take this out and bring it in and have a look. But that appears to be what happened. First time beekeeper, so first season. So I think it's going to be chalk up to a lesson. Alright, so we're here in the garage. Got the Mini. I brought it in from outside the other day, and after doing a quick inspection, which you'll have already seen, but yeah, the bees died out. We know that there was no activity, so we're just cracking things open, taking a look, figuring out what we can learn, and then cleaning things up and getting ready. I've already ordered queen and about a pound of bees from Myers Bees locally, so they're awesome, and it's good to have bees that I know have been overwintered and run through this thing. So we're just going to pop this open. I'm going to record this for for myself and for you guys, so you can see first year beekeeper, the first time overwintering, and so just a matter of learning the lessons and trying to figure out what's going on. So this is the bottom, and we've got a lot of poop, some dead bees, just some debris, nothing crazy on the bottom. So you can see there's some debris, but nothing really on the bottom, nothing I wouldn't expect to see. A few dead bees going on there. So let's pop this off. Obviously big space. I brought it inside. So I looked at it. We had a day where it was nice and warm outside, and I took the opportunity, which is when I noticed they were dead, so I brought it in before we had like 10 inches of snow. So I had put this out there, built this candy board, obviously to a point where they didn't even get to it because they didn't get that far. So I'll break this down and we'll get that, at least I'll have that for later. So take a look here. Flip this over. We'll look at this will be the top box. So I don't expect anything crazy from this. It should be very much like I left it. So there was an empty frame. So I'm going to try to keep these. So there's an empty frame up front, just holding space. This is from late in the season. They had some stuff going on and left it. So this one has a single bee in the comb, head down. Must have been trying to get to the thing. So there's some capped honey. Very brittle because it's cold. So, and we've got capped honey on this side and a little bit there. So one bee, like they were trying to get in at some point. Here's another one where there's a bee, another girl right in there, buried in there face down. So this one, otherwise nothing but capped honey. This is empty comb that they left at the end of the season. And this is empty comb on this side and capped honey on this side. Otherwise, everything else looks pretty normal. Like I said, a couple of girls head down in there. I'll put this empty frame back in. Things seem pretty normal there. No signs of bugs, mites, issues. So what we'll be doing is going through. I've got some bags over here. I'm going to bag up a bunch of these frames. I'll run them through. I've got a chest freezer here in the garage, and we'll freeze them for a couple of days, make sure there's nothing live. We don't want to have any of the issues. And then that way, when the new bees come in the spring, end of April, be able to take these frames out and give them a really good head start to the season with alright, so it's nice and heavy. So the top one, definitely, that was the weak, the little bit we had on the top, so just a little bit. So here we have a little bit of capped honey on the outside, and we have solid capped on the inside. Everything looks good. We'll pollen in a couple of different places. I'm going to place that here. All right. Number 2, solid capped honey. Solid capped honey. And dead girl right here. We get her out of there. There we go. And the first evidence, there you go. There's, if you can see it, there's a small mite right there sitting on top. So trying to knock. There's clearly dead, so not an issue. But that's what we saw going on. You're going to see that coming down here further. That I think between the swarm that we had and trying to get a treatment in, I think we just lost to the mite infestation. So, all right, solid honey, capped honey here, and pretty much all the way capped honey here. Nice heavy comb. Alright, next one. Interesting how they're pushed in. I wonder how that managed to get that pushed in so they're not level. But solid capped honey, nothing odd. Capped honey, everything looking normal. uncapped honey. We definitely had plenty of honey. If I had kept them, I think they would have been fine. But honey here, no issues. Looks normal and healthy. Okay, some open cells, capped, dead girl there. She looks okay. I mean, otherwise, I think, you know, no mites on her, so I think it's just starved out from lack. But some uncapped honey in the middle. Otherwise, looks good. I think that little tearaway is just from the side of the box here. Now we're getting into the business end. Just watching what's coming down from these guys. Comb for the most part. Alright, so here we're going to get into brood areas. I think this is where we're going to see some of the evidence of what was left. Not a lot of bees that I could see when I first broke them apart, so I have a feeling this is that once, I think either we lost a bunch of them, we didn't have the queen that we had hoped after they swarmed September 1st, and we'd hoped there was a queen again. It looked like evidence of that, but we never saw her, so there could have been that we didn't have a queen and they died out. You know, their numbers dwindled and they died out. So, all right, so here we are. Bunch of them on this older comb, and some of them nose down in the cells. Try to keep an eyeball out from the dead to see if we have a queen in here. That's all. At least we can see. But otherwise, it looks fairly normal. Comb is good. Try to clean these guys up a little bit. This was this way. Trying to keep an eyeball, make sure we got this recorded on where these were positioned. So this one is still capped. Cluster of bees at the top. In the same spot as the opposite, so they were clustered right in here. And a bunch of them with that died their nose into the cells. So it looks like they died, and the last thing they were doing was trying to feed. I'll have to take some, may have to ask, but find out if there's a, do you try to take all of these bees out of the holes, or will the new bees come and clean things up. I'm assuming they would clean some things up, but got a bunch of their butts poking out. I might need to take a tweezer and get them out. So we shall see. Alright, this is empty, a little bit of kept honey on there, but otherwise empty brood comb. Just dark, light, I mean it's just, or dark, empty, nothing going on. A couple of bees. Couple of bees on the comb, but otherwise nothing else going on. Sorry, just cleaning up some of the on the bottom of the comb. Make my life a little easier between. Again, empty brood, completely empty. There's just some stray bees on the ends, but otherwise nothing going on that. Good comb, just nothing in it, so there's nothing going on. So this one's a little bit heavier. We can see empty comb in here. One dead girl there. Try to get them out. So empty comb on this side and capped honey on the other. So they didn't even open it, they didn't get to this point. So definitely sure that I'm feeling more and more positive that they just did not recover after the swarm as I had hoped. We had seen some numbers, we thought we had a queen, and I don't know, unless I see a queen, I suspect we may have been queenless. They may have been queenless and they died out. They just didn't have the numbers, and then the rest of them may have died from definitely on starvation, because here's another full frame, heavy, all honey, totally full, looks great. No issues. So they had the food. I think we're not. I just think I think we may have been queenless and lost that battle. We just did not recover after. I know I'm repeating myself, but it's kind of like going through and thinking about this process and what happened. So, I felt bad. Real bad when I lost them. I realized that it's part of there, and this is a mini, and this is my first year, and there's a lot of mistakes that I'm gonna make, and I'm okay. It's a learning process. But obviously they're living beings, and you hope you do better and you get them through. But the next best thing I can do is learn, and from there take take what I learned and bring that forward and do better next season, and in hopes of doing more, and being better at it. So here we are in the bottom. This one is super light, so there's I expect there to be not a lot of resources here. So this is the where I noticed it in the video, and by this time you probably have seen that from my original recording. But this frame in particular, I think, sold me on a lot of things. So as you can see from the top there, and I hope the camera picks it up, a lot of mites right there on the top. On that frame in particular, a cluster of mites. I'm very interested in why they're just clustered on this particular one. If that oxyalix treatment, or if this was where they all were at the time. But it's clear that there was a mite problem, and they were clustered here. And I wonder if the mites clustered there and died, or if the bees clustered there and then that's where they died. That's definitely interesting that they. So a little bit of capped honey. Looking in the frames. Some pollen. See that? So put that guy there. Some crazy comb on the inside. Alright. So I made sure not to come too far down when I was doing my inspection, if you followed along last season. So there's some cluster of bees up here, all workers, mite or two, nothing major. And this one has pollen in it. And this was right above. I think this is where my oxyallic. Interesting. I don't know if you can see that. I wonder. So this is, I don't know what this fuzz is. I did that oxyallic treatment, and this would have been right about where that was. So I wonder if I'll have to be careful. I wonder if the oxyallic didn't fully go through. Interesting. So this is right where, this is about center of the box, and I think this is where the oxyallic treatment had happened, and so that's why this is really interesting, and it's in that pattern. So I will try to figure out how to clean these guys up. Empty comb, some, it's like bee bread, but some pollen, a little bit of honey. Yeah, not too much else going on. Okay, so this one is got a little bit of pollen in it. This side also pollen. One girl. So this one, same thing. Otherwise, nothing else in it. Okay, I've got some honey. It was never capped. Pollen. Okay. And it seems like the same thing on this side. It looks like bee bread, uncapped honey, and some pollen. Okay, this side I've got uncapped honey and pollen, and this side has capped honey, uncapped honey in the center, a couple little spots look like bee bread or pollen as well. So yeah, that cluster up here was definitely where the mites, were, and then so I'm keeping this record so that I know what I see and then can share it with you guys. And then also we know the positions of things in the hive. So when I put these back together, I'll try to find a way to number them by the boxes. If I just don't freeze the entire box, but depends on the space that we have and what we can do on that. So I might take the time to do a little rehabbing on these surfaces, clean up the boxes, get things going. So that's really it. And here you can see what that looks like, and I think that's the oxalic treatment. I think that was when in December did an oxalic treatment when I had some mites, but it may have been already too late. And it was pretty cold, and I wonder if the unit didn't warm up all the way, or if it just put this here and it went straight up. This would be the frame that on the top of that with all the mites on it. So interestingly enough, that this was very much clustered here, and directly above it is the frame, this frame. So these have the white. This is the frame that had all the mites on it. So who knows, that concentrated oxalic might have created that situation where that whole thing was, they were all on top of that like that. So, all right, well, I don't think there's much more to be gained here. I'm gonna go through, I've got some plastic bags, and I'm gonna get this stuff into rotate over the next couple of days in the freezer. It's fairly cold here in the garage, and we've got some sub-freezing temperatures, so I'm not too worried about the ones that are out here, but I'm going to rotate a couple of days for each group of frames. I may just do it in each hive body, just put them in there, give them a couple of days, and then when they come out, I'll just take the entire hive body, clean it up, and put it inside some plastic and a plastic bag or whatever, so we can make sure that until the new season of bees comes in, we don't have any unexpected problems with moths or anything like that. So no evidence that there's any moths or any other pests in here. This is completely dead. So it's just a matter of, at this point, hanging on to the resources and the comb, so we can get a good start for the new season. So 1 pound of bees, Italian, with a queen, and I've already got that ordered. So on to season 2. But hopefully this has been helpful. It's good for me. It's cathartic, and you know, knowing that this is part of the beekeeping journey. But hopefully you guys can learn along with me or give me some advice if you see something. Thanks a lot.